You know that moment when your entire world just stops? When everything you thought was real crumbles right in front of you? Yeah, that's exactly what happened to me. My husband looked me dead in the eye, pointed at our newborn baby, and said those 4 words that would change everything. That's not mine. I'm talking about the kind of betrayal that makes your knees buckle. The kind that makes you question every single moment of your entire relationship. And here's the kicker, the DNA test? Oh, it came back. But what it revealed didn't just end our marriage. It ended so much more than that. Stay with me, because what I'm about to tell you is going to blow your mind. Let me take you back to where this nightmare began. Picture this. I'm in the hospital, exhausted, emotional, holding my beautiful baby girl for the first time. She's perfect. 10 tiny fingers, 10 tiny toes, a little button nose. I'm crying happy tears, thinking this is the best day of my life. My husband, Marcus, he's standing in the corner, not smiling, not crying, just staring. And not in that proud dad way. In a cold, calculated way that made my skin crawl. What's wrong? I asked him, my voice still shaky from labor. He didn't answer right away, just kept staring at our baby like she was some kind of puzzle he couldn't solve. Then he said it. She doesn't look like me. My heart dropped. I literally felt it sink into my stomach. What are you talking about? I whispered, pulling our daughter closer to my chest. I'm just saying, she doesn't have any of my features. Nothing. Now, let me be clear about something. My husband is black. I'm black. Our baby, she came out lighter than both of us. Not white, but lighter. And if you know anything about genetics, you know that's completely normal. Babies can be born lighter and get darker. It happens all the time. But Marcus, he wasn't having it. The next few days were pure torture. Every time someone came to visit, Marcus would make these little comments. Wow, she's so light. Funny how she doesn't have my nose. Genetics are wild, huh? My mom noticed. My sister noticed. Even the nurses started giving me these sympathetic looks like they knew something was brewing. I tried to talk to him about it. I really did. Marcus, you're scaring me. What are you trying to say? He turned to me with this look I'd never seen before. Pure coldness. I'm saying I don't think she's mine. The room started spinning. My chest got tight. I couldn't breathe. Are you serious right now? Are you actually accusing me of cheating? I'm not accusing you of anything. I'm just saying we need to be sure. Be sure. Like I was some stranger off the street. Like we hadn't been together for 6 years. Like I hadn't been faithful every single day of our relationship. Here's where it gets even crazier. You'd think he would have at least had the decency to wait until we got home, right? Wrong. This man ordered a DNA test while I was still in the hospital recovering from childbirth. I was so hurt, so angry, so humiliated. But part of me thought, fine, let's do the test. Let's prove him wrong and move on from this. Spoiler alert, things did not move on. The 2 weeks waiting for those results were the longest 2 weeks of my life. Marcus barely talked to me. He'd hold the baby, but it was like he was holding a stranger's child. No connection. No warmth, just obligation. I cried myself to sleep every single night. I kept asking myself, how did we get here? What did I do to deserve this? My sister kept telling me, girl, when these results come back and prove you right, you better leave him anyway. This is disrespect on a whole different level. And she was right, but I loved him. I really did. I thought maybe, just maybe, once he saw that DNA test, he'd realize how stupid he'd been. He'd apologize, we'd go to therapy, and we'd work through it. Yeah, I was so wrong. The day the results came in, I was feeding the baby when Marcus walked through the door. He had an envelope in his hand. The envelope. My hand started shaking. You gonna open it? I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. He stared at me for what felt like forever, then tore open the envelope. I watched his face as he read. I was looking for relief, for shame, for something that showed he realized he'd messed up. Instead, his face went pale, like ghost white. What does it say? I demanded, standing up so fast I almost dropped the baby. He looked at me with this mixture of shock and horror and said, she's mine. I should have felt relief, right? I should have felt vindicated. But something about the way he said it made my blood run cold. What else does it say, Marcus? He handed me the paper with a shaking hand. And that's when my world completely fell apart. The test confirmed he was the father. But there was something else. Something neither of us expected. The DNA test showed that our daughter had a genetic marker for a condition. A condition that's hereditary. A condition that Marcus's family has, but he didn't know about. Because he was adopted. Let me say that again for the people in the back. My husband was adopted, and he had no idea. 32 years of his life, thinking he knew who he was, where he came from, who his people were. Gone. Just like that. The genetic marker our daughter had, it traced back to a specific ethnic background that didn't match the family that raised him at all. Marcus just stood there, staring at the paper like it was written in a foreign language. I don't understand, he kept saying over and over. I don't understand. I didn't know what to do. Part of me wanted to be there for him, to comfort him. But part of me was still so angry about what he'd put me through. You need to talk to your parents, I finally said. The conversation with his parents was brutal. And I mean brutal. His mom broke down, crying immediately. His dad got defensive. There was yelling, tears, decades of secrets spilling out all at once. Turns out, they'd been planning to tell him his whole life. When the time was right, when he was old enough, when it felt appropriate. Except the right time never came. And then years turned into decades, and the secret got buried so deep they convinced themselves it didn't matter anymore. But it did matter. It mattered so much. Now here's where the story takes another turn. Because Marcus didn't just find out he was adopted. The DNA test opened a door to a whole other family. Biological siblings he never knew existed. A birth mother who'd been searching for him for years. A father who didn't even know he existed. And our daughter, she was the key that unlocked all of it. Marcus became obsessed. And I mean obsessed. He started doing ancestry tests, genealogy research, reaching out to relatives, building family trees. He joined every DNA database he could find. And with every new discovery, he pulled further and further away from me and our daughter. I tried to be understanding. I really did. This was a massive identity crisis. His entire foundation had been ripped out from under him. But he blamed me. Somehow, in his twisted logic, this was all my fault. If you hadn't gotten pregnant, I never would have found out, he said to me one night. I just stared at him. So you're saying you wish you never knew the truth? I'm saying my life was fine before all this. That's when I knew. Our marriage was over. The divorce was messy. He fought for custody, not because he wanted our daughter, but because he was angry. He wanted to hurt me the way he was hurting. But here's the thing about DNA tests and family secrets. Once you open that box, you can't close it. Marcus's biological family? They weren't what he expected. There was addiction. There was crime. There were reasons his birth mother had given him up in the first place. The family that raised him, the ones who loved him and protected him and gave him everything, he pushed them away because of a lie. And me, the woman who'd been faithful, who'd given him a beautiful daughter, who'd stood by him through the hardest revelation of his life. He destroyed that too. It's been 2 years now. Our daughter is the happiest, smartest, most beautiful little girl you've ever seen. She has his eyes, by the way. Funny how he couldn't see that in the beginning. Marcus and I co-parent. Barely. He sees her every other weekend, and it's awkward and tense, but we make it work for her sake. He's still trying to navigate his identity, still trying to figure out who he is. I hope he finds peace. I really do. As for me, I learned something incredibly important through all of this. DNA doesn't just tell you where you come from. It tells you secrets. It reveals truths that some people spend their whole lives hiding. It can answer questions you didn't even know you had. But it can also destroy relationships, shatter families, and change everything you thought you knew about yourself and the people you love. That DNA test proved my daughter was his. But in proving that one truth, it unraveled 1,000 others. Our relationship ended not because of infidelity, not because of lack of love, but because of a truth that was 32 years in the making. Sometimes the answers we're looking for come with consequences we never saw coming. And sometimes, the very thing that's supposed to bring clarity brings nothing but chaos. So yeah, my husband said the baby wasn't his. The DNA test proved she was. But it also proved that sometimes, the truth doesn't set you free. Sometimes, it just burns everything to the ground.